Sleepy kitty. So sleepy. Hello my darlings and welcome to a new mood reading vlog, the first mood reading vlog of July. So as usual, I'm going to begin by pulling a tarot card. So today I've got the Midnight Magic Tarot deck, and this is a mushroom deck. So let's see what prompt I get. Found my light tonight. Okay, we have the Six of Pentacles, and the mushroom for this is Agaricus Augustus, the Prince. Before I actually read out the book prompt, I'm going to read the keywords for this card. So let's see, I asked, what's my evening going to be like? So let's have a look. Generosity, support, and gratitude. So Six of Pentacles is normally the charity card, you know, you give a little, you get a little, reciprocal in nature kind of thing. So we'll see how that plays out. But Six of Pentacles, reading wise, what have we got? Okay, this is a fun one. So this is a book recommendation based on the last book I read. So I go on Goodreads, pick the last book I read, and see what Goodreads recommends to me. All right, this is fun. This is not entirely in my control, but out of the options that are there, I get to pick which one. I wonder what the last book I logged as read was though. Oh, please be a good one. Please don't be something I hated. I will screen record. Oh my God, of course it is. It's This Vicious Dream by Stasia Stark. It's literally the last book I read. Of course, Chanel, you just did your wrap up. I didn't love it. I didn't love it. We shall see. Let's have a look. What have we got? Please be good. Ah, please be good. It's just going to be a romantasy, isn't it? All right, let's have a look. I don't know what most of these are. I'm not a big romantasy reader. Broken Souls and Bones, What Blooms from Death, S.M. Gaither, I have read before, I do like their stuff. Shield of Sparrows by Devney Perry. This has been getting a lot of talk, so it could be that one. There's also, I don't know these others, A Curse Carved in Bone by Danielle Jensen. I did like the first book in that, Restored. Oh, Night and the Moth. Okay, look, there's a few options here. I will go through and read all of the synopses for these books and pick one. Obviously, it's also based on what my library has, so we'll see. But actually, I've just got to take a screenshot because that's easier to look at than a recording. But wonderful, I'm going to be reading a romantasy. All right. Besides that, I do have a book from NetGalley that came in. It's called My Lips, Her Voice by L. Madrid. This is being published in October of this year. I do always forget to mention when the books are being published. Now, I have already begun it. I did not realize this was YA. So based on the synopsis, it sounds like adults. So that's my bad. I think I do need to, in that galley, check Goodreads and check the genres because I really don't like to request YA books. But yeah, these girls are still in school. So this is about a town that has a very bloody history. They're known for their serial killers and their ghosts. And then one of the girls in the friendship group gets murdered and her ghost hangs around, and I think these girls are trying to figure out who this serial killer is before they strike again. So I have started reading that. I love the cover. This was mostly a cover selection because it's stunning. I've also started reading In the Garden of Monsters by Crystal King because there was a whole thing about my dream and this book being based on the Sacro Bosco, which is a garden in Italy that has these stone mythological creatures from Greek mythology that I dreamt about without knowing what it was. And that morning I had found a book on Pinterest, this exact book, In the Garden of Monsters. It said it was a Persephone Hades retelling. I always give them a go, even though almost none of them end up working for me. And then didn't know they were related, obviously. And then I watched a booktuber, and on her channel she was talking about the Sacro Bosco. I was like, holy shit, those are the statues from my dream. And before I could even delve into that, it's a place in Italy, she said there's a book that's based on these statues, and it was the book In the Garden of Monsters, which I just pinned that morning. So I have my own copy of this thanks to Tom. I had to buy it. It was a signifier of this Persephone dream I had. So I'm also reading that. So already we've got 3 options for this vlog. I will tell you about Perfume today. So we've got Goldfield and Banks Purple Suede. So Purple Suede opens with a dry mineralic take on Tasmanian lavender. It's quite herbal and sun-scorched. We then have it grounded by pink pepper and hyssop, giving it a bitter green edge that feels sort of medicinal. The heart is where the suede note emerges. It's quite dusty and tanned like a vintage Outback jacket. This is an Australian perfume. We then have coriander and lavender that continue throughout this middle phase, giving it an almost soapy edge. But then we've also got civet. I personally wouldn't buy a perfume that has civet, just my personal preference. The dry down is very wild earth evoking. It's the civet and the oud really come out and give it a very musky warmth on the skin. We also have patchouli and oak moss that feels quite damp and forest floor rich. The dry down is quite intimate and smoky, also reminiscent of an old book left in a cedar chest. To me, the first image that came to my mind when smelling this was someone having an English tea sitting in a leather wing-backed chair in London, but slightly wild, slightly not quite right. And so I have paired this with Un-London by China Mieville, It's an alternative London where the bizarre becomes commonplace. It's whimsical, surreal, and adventurous, with a dark undercurrent, quite bold, a bit strange and sophisticated too. I know I should have gone for something Australian, but yeah, I just thought of English tea in an old Victorian building, and like I said, some kind of wild edge to it. So tonight is the disco in the library as part of the Rising Festival in Melbourne, which you'll see on my Pride vlog. So I'll just put a little bit of something in here. Oh, I know what I'll put in here. So I've decided to give myself a side quest for winter. Winter's a rough month for me. I don't like being cold and wet outside, and it's a struggle to want to leave my cozy hobbit hole. So to get myself outdoors and to make it a bit more fun, I'm going to try to find the best hot chocolate in Melbourne this winter. So I've decided on my way to the Rising event in the CBD, I'm going to pop into Cocoa Black, which is where my sister works. That's the company that she's with, and I'm going to order one of their hot chocolates. So Cocoa Black is just a chocolate company, but I'm also going to try out hot chocolates from cafes that are supposed to be a bit bougie, a bit something extra. I'm looking for not your stock standard hot chocolate. My favorite types of hot chocolate are made from real chocolate and thickened cream. I know it's very decadent, but that's how I like it. I want it thick and unctuous and chocolate velvet coating my throat. So when I make my own hot chocolate, I melt a whole block of the red lint. So it's the lint bars that are actually domed, that's not flat. A whole block of that. I heat it up with double cream, and then I either, depending on my mood that day, will put a splash of rose water in to make a rose water hot chocolate, or cinnamon to make a cinnamon spice hot chocolate. And like I said, it's thick and creamy and very, very rich. So if anybody's a thin, it's straight out. If they've got a bit of something extra points for that. So yes, I will tally up my ratings out of 10 for the hot chocolates, and we'll see who comes out on top. Obviously my sister is hoping the Cocoa Black one comes first, but I'm not going to be biased, bro. Sorry, going to be completely unbiased and just give you my honest opinion. So yes, I will put footage in of that this evening, but otherwise the rest of the footage will go in the Pride vlog. And I'll touch base with you once I have finished the next book. First stop for the hot chocolate, guys. Nope, they finished their hot chocolates for the evening, so I'm gonna try somewhere else. Okay, next stop is Brunetti's. Hopefully we'll have better luck. Okay, so I'm getting the chocolate calda, that's the Italian hot chocolate, sweet vanilla chocolate. Okay, so this one comes with a little wafer. I'm just gonna take the wafer off and whipped cream. Let's see how it is. Okay, pretty good. I don't like the little crunchy balls in it. Oh, what am I gonna give this? Maybe 7 out of 10. Good morning, guys. Let me tell you about yesterday. I loved the little free street glimpses we've got of the Rising Festival. That was super cute. It was a vibe. Yeah, the hot chocolate I'd give 7. No bluebell. I'd give a 7 out of a 10. It was thick, which was nice. Blue. Can't stop a cat, man. And but I didn't like the crunchy bits, and it was a bit plain. I went to the library disco. That was great. That's an event to go to with friends. I did try to have a little solo boogie on the dance floor, but to be honest, I just ended up feeling like really sad and lonely, watching everybody having fun with their besties, or, you know, couples. It was mostly groups of friends. And I'm just not extroverted enough to go up to strangers and say, hey, I'm here on my own. Can I hang with you guys? So yeah, I ended up leaving after about 2 hours because, yeah, I was meant to go with friends. It just didn't pan out, unfortunately. It's definitely something I would love to go back to with my friends. I would not go on my own again. I think I realized that events during the daytime solo, perfectly fine, totally chill. Nighttime events on my own, yeah, I just feel really sad and lonely and awkward. I don't think I'm going to go to any more evening events, like, except the Perfume events. That's different. That one I felt totally fine going on my own too, even though everybody else there had come with a mate. But that was absolutely fine. But yeah, like big events that aren't structured and intimate, no. So I don't know, I might try maybe a book club evening or something like that. But yeah, dancing and stuff. Yeah, you need some pals to clown around with. So that was that. And it is cold in Melbourne. It was like 1 degrees this morning Celsius. That's minus something Fahrenheit for sure. So it's only the second week of winter. So I think it's going to be a cold winter. Already having to defrost the windshields and everything in the morning. I have narrowed the romantasy options down to 4. I'll put them up on the screen. It's pretty much going to be whatever comes in first to the library. So these are the 4. The Night and the Moth is on my TBR for this month, so I would love that to come in first. I also started listening to an audiobook while I was in the cab. I didn't want to bring a e-reader with me to the event, so I just brought my headphones because they go in my pocket. So I was listening to Ritual by Chloe Elizabeth Wilson. Cleanse, Tone, Sacrifice. I will give you a synopsis of this once I've read a bit more and I've gotten a hang of the story. I'm about 30% of the way through it. It's just starting to get to the bit that's mentioned in the synopsis on Goodreads. So I'll give you an update soon. Once again, I think this is one of those situations where the audiobook form is serving it. I don't know if I would have continued on if I was reading it, but because I can just put it on the background, I am continuing on. I think I'll give it at least 50% before deciding, because right now it's just feeling like, 3, and I want it a bit more than just a mid-read. So we'll see how that goes. And obviously I've got to continue on with My Lips, Her Voice. I am 70 pages into that. But yes, I have to finish that one because that's an arc. I just wish it wasn't teenagers. But I might head out today, go to the library. I've got to pick up books. I've also got to return books that are overdue. The 3 weeks goes by so quickly, and the new releases have reservations on them. So there's a lot that I just don't get to at the moment because I've obviously got my themed vlogs that I have to read specific books for. So yeah, mood reading, I don't get to the majority of the library, you know, new releases that I pick up, unfortunately. And then to reserve them again, I'm now 40th in the line. So I'm like, I'll leave it. If I decide to come back to it in the future, you know, I will. But yeah, that's a shame. I also want to see if I can get a hot chocolate today to continue on my hot chocolate quest. And I need to go to the bank to get notes because I give my kids money for the tuck shop and you need cash for that. So I've got to take cash out, and I might pop into the op shop and see what's there. I probably won't film. Yeah, I don't love filming in retail stores for whatever reason. It feels a bit naff. So filming my food at a cafe, fine. But yeah, I feel weird filming racks of clothes, so I probably won't film that. But if I get anything, I'll show you. I am on the hunt for white combat boots because it's winter and I love, you know, like pretty flat combat boots, and I need a new pair of black ones. The ones I've got, which I wear all the time, are about to die on me. So those are the two main things I would really like to get: black combat boots, white combat boots, and maybe a cream winter coat. I've got white, brown, black and red. I don't have cream. So I think that's like the last color that I kind of need to round off my coat and jacket collection. I don't know, I might keep my eyes out for like funky boots because, you know, it is winter and I need the closed toe, but I still like to have fun shoes as well, not just practical shoes. So yeah, there's a few things I'd like to keep my eye out for in terms of the op shops. And I think I need to do a clothing drop off soon, sell some more stuff, because yeah, the older I get, some of my clothes are just not my vibe anymore, and my weight doesn't fluctuate as wildly as it used to. So I'm thinking I could probably get rid of like the really larger sizes and the really smaller sizes, and just I might even just need 2 sizes in my wardrobe, like what I am now, maybe a little bit bigger. I highly doubt I'd go smaller again. But then again, if I did, then I just have baggier clothes, and I think that's fine. You know, it'll just be a looser fit. So I think I might get rid of like, yeah, the really small stuff and the really big stuff, and just free up some closet space. So that's on the agenda as well. Maybe next week. I'm a bit rickety wrecked, and my kid's dad has gone to Bali for 3 weeks. So I've got the kids for a long stretch, just that one day a week where they go to their dad's. It's just a really good rest day for me, where I just have a lot less housework and no one needs anything, and I miss that. It's like as an introvert, I love being completely alone at home, not talking to a single human soul. I love that. So yeah, I have to really be mindful of my energy at the moment, since it's going to be a while before I get a proper break. But I will, I'll come back later today with my library haul for y'all. Okay, so I forgot my wallet, so I couldn't take money out of the bank, but I decided to check the op shop anyway, because when you are a member of charity shops in Australia, you sort of rack up dollars from every purchase. And I thought, I'm sure I have something. So I had $3, and that's enough for a book. And I found a book that was on my TBR and that is in really good condition. And that book is The Department of Speculation by Jenny Offal. So very cool. I was very excited. I'm like, sweet, it's free, because I used my $3, but I was like, okay, that's fantastic. And I did do the library haul, so let me show you. So I've got Magnetic by Rochelle Fox, The Secret to Manifesting Health, Wealth, Love, and Happiness, because why not? I'll try anything. At this point in time, we've got Ancillary Mercy by Anne Leckie. So this is a sci-fi book. I picked it up because the chick at the bookstore said that's what she was reading, so I thought I'd check it out. This big boy, we've got The Devils by Joe Abercrombie. Love A Little Hatred. Didn't like the rest in that series, but I thought I'd try them out again. It's such a big book. Then I've got Here in Avalon by Tara Isabella Burton. So I did really enjoy the short story I read of theirs, and then I saw they had a new book in at the library, so I thought I'd grab it. Then I've got Botanical Cures and Poisons, The Shadow Lives of Plants by Fez Inkwright. I'm pretty sure they have an oracle deck, now that I think about it, but just look at this gorgeous book, and it has illustrations of florals as well inside, but just gorgeous. It's got foiling. I don't know if that's picking up on screen, but yeah, it's beautiful foiling, just gorgeous. Another cool cover, which is foiled, is Blackwater, The Flood by Michael McDowell. I don't actually think I'll like this book, but the covers are so bloody cool that I thought just give it a go, because then if you do love it, you can pick whichever of the covers you like most and grab it. Then I've got The Homemade God by Rachel Joyce. So this says it's like a family saga, which I don't like, I hate, but it feels like there is going to be a supernatural element or something, because there's some strange woman and she could destroy the family. There's a mystery. So I'm hoping it's not just straight up litfic family drama, but we'll see. And the final book that I grabbed is Moonstone by Laura Purcell, Break the Curse, Embrace the Wild. I don't think I'll love this, but you know, brand new. So give it a go. Not losing anything by giving it a go. It's free. So that's the haul.
First one to try.
Hey babes, you having a good time?
Bert, have you seen what Indy does to cats?
Hey guys, so I finished listening to Ritual by Chloe Elizabeth Wilson. Fallen woman, fallen woman, fallen woman. Oh, look at Sylvie. Say hi, Sylvie. Sylvie's on my lap. Oh, yes, you are. So in this book, we have Marnie Selig, and she is floundering between a breakup, underemployment, and the existential dread of her late 20s. She's ripe for reinvention. So when she lands a job at the mysterious and wildly popular beauty brand Ritual Cosmetica, it feels like a sign. An aesthetic rebirth. A new chapter. Welcome to Ritual, where the serums are sacred. The CEO is charismatic enough to make Gwyneth Paltrow seem low-key.
Aw, Gwyneth Paltrow's goop is selling this thing called a yoni egg.
And the HR policy just might include blood oaths. Ritual isn't just skincare. It's a movement, a lifestyle, a religion wearing lip gloss. And its ethereal founder, Luna, seems to have stepped straight out of an Instagram mood board. She's glowing, she's magnetic, and she quickly takes Marnie under her wing, drawing her into the inner sanctum of the company. At first, Marnie is dazzled, not by the really low salary, to be honest, by the complementary products and the intoxicating sense of purpose. But soon oddities start to pile up. Co-workers recite mantras with unnerving intensity. The Friday night drinks feel more like occult ceremonies, and Luna's interest in Marnie grows increasingly personal. As Marnie tries to untangle the secrets behind Ritual's glowing image, she begins to suspect that what she's joined isn't just a company, but a cult. One that's grooming her for something far more sinister than an influencer campaign. And the deeper she delves, the more she questions her own sanity, her identity, and whether she'll ever leave Ritual. So Ritual is a millennial thriller with contouring. It's a pink glazed psychological horror about how capitalism, cults, and beauty all prey on the same thing: our need to belong. So this book is set in Melbourne, which was a treat. And dude, we all know that it's probably based on Mecca Cosmetica, which is an Australian beauty company, think along the lines of Sephora, that has come under fire recently with a lot of class action lawsuits instigated by its own employees. In this book, this ain't your typical Friday night drinks with the girlies, and also we don't talk about Friday night drinks with the girlies. I thought it was decent. It didn't so much focus on the beauty industry as it did on the trauma that the women characters in this experienced at the hands of men and their desire for vengeance against said men. The main character, Marnie, for me wasn't a strong enough main character. She was quite wishy-washy, and she wasn't as interesting as some of the other women characters in this book. I would have preferred maybe even having this book from Coco's point of view, for instance, or even roses. The pacing was also a bit off. I don't think I would have finished it if I was reading it. Once again, the audiobook did benefit this story by keeping me interested enough to continue on. I was kind of let down. There was definitely nothing supernatural in this. It is a standard thriller. It is also sapphic, but the dynamic in that was very off-putting for me. And I don't know, I kind of wanted more from it. I definitely wanted more from Marnie. I struggle to believe that Aussies would so quickly and easily be brainwashed by a cult. I feel like Australians aren't as partial to the cult-like mind games and entrapments. As soon as she saw what her salary was and then what was expected of her and what was happening within the company, that she'd be like, nah, mate, I'm out. This is some bullshit right here. Not interested. I don't want to be part of this, thanks. The perks are not perky enough for me to be complicit in this. Yeah, I think you have to suspend your disbelief a little bit with this one, but at the same time, it wasn't as extreme as I was expecting. Out of all of the beauty books that I read, and I've read a lot of the beauty industry books, this one's probably the most similar to Rouge by Mona Awad. But yeah, this is less about the beauty industry and its effect on women's mental health, and more about abusive men inflicting trauma and how it impacts women and how they go about trying to reclaim their power and their sovereignty and cut the cords. I have almost finished In the Garden of Monsters by Crystal King, so I'll give you my update for that soon. I am also still reading My Lips, Her Voice, and I have just borrowed Taxi Ghost by Sophie Escabase. I don't know, I will Google that later and figure out how to pronounce it. I wanted something heartwarming, and middle grade, like paranormal graphic novels, fantasy graphic novels tend to do that for me. This is July, so my Chanel's chapter challenge prompt for this month is a book that makes me happy or is a 5-star read. It's very hard to predict 5-star reads for myself because they're so random. 5-star reads are purely emotional based for me. It's about my mind frame at the time that I was reading that particular book, and it would have had to elicit some kind of emotional resonance. I find that the books I can most highly recommend to people are anything from my 3.5 to 4.75 range. The 5 stars, you think, oh, that's definitely a book I'd recommend to everybody. No, no. They're highly subjective and personal. So, sometimes there is a 5-star book that I can see is applicable. That is definitely one I could recommend to the masses, but generally I'm like, yeah, this is just a niche for me. I just bought this copy of A Short Stay in Hell by Stephen Alpeck, thanks to Rob. So this was, I think I gave this 4.75, 4.5. It wasn't a 5-star because it was so traumatizing. It's such a small book. It's an excellent book. It's a psychological horror about a man who winds up in hell, and hell is a library in which he must find the book about his life in a library that contains trillions of books. It's every book that could ever be written, and all of the variations of that exist are mind-numbingly expansive. And there's obviously other humans stuck in this hell. So where there are humans, there is cruelty and violence and selfishness. So that does play out in this. But yeah, this book definitely gives you existential dread. You were just going to be lying awake at night, staring at the ceiling, thinking about what the reality of this would be like, and the fact that there is no escape. You can't kill yourself. You're already dead. So yeah, I do love this book, so I'm glad to finally have a copy. It's definitely something I would like to reread in the future. I also got this beautiful deck in. So this is the Oracle. This is the Oracle of the Black Madonnas. So all of the images are actually pictures of physical dioramas that the creator of this deck made and then photographed. So a beautiful customer of mine who bought some of my tarot bags said that they were happy to pass this deck along to me. This is a unicorn deck for me. Unicorn decks are ones that you don't think you'll ever get because they're out of print. And sometimes people might sell their copies, but a lot of people are opportunistic with the price with that because they know the deck is out of print and therefore it's rare. So they'll generally be asking for prices of $300, $400. There's one deck that I really love, and the creator themselves, instead of reprinting it, are selling the remaining decks of it for like $700. So I just thought I'd never get this, but this beautiful, beautiful woman generously gifted me that deck, so I've been playing with that. Today I'm heading out to Aesop because thanks to Grandpa's Book Club, I wouldn't have been aware of this, they were doing a very itty bitty mini event thing where they are having a queer library in their store where you get to go in and pick a queer book for free. I will for sure also purchase something from Aesop because I love their shit. I love their stuff. So I'm going to take my daughter along with me because she's a skincare fanatic. She loves that. It's very aesthetic too. It's very her. She's very Virgo, and I feel like Aesop's a very Virgo-esque stores. So I'm going there. I'm thrilled. I only knew about it too because my bestie Kate was on Grandpa's Book Club's Instagram. I don't have Instagram. I can only follow them on YouTube. She's like, oh, they posted this story. This is probably something you want to do. Today's the final day of it. So I'm making it happen. We've got doctor's appointments. I've got play dates with Indy, and yeah, I'm just trying to get it all in, but I definitely want to hit up that store today. So that's what's on the agenda. I would love to also try and grab a hot chocolate from somewhere around there because this is across the other side of town for me. So it's a bit of a drive. So I want to kind of do something else while we're there and make it worth the trip. But I'm excited to see what sort of books they're offering in the store, and I'm probably going to grab myself, most likely I'll grab myself a hand cream because I love putting on hand cream on getting into bed, especially something with a very soothing, calming scent. So I'll catch you guys later on and show you my goodies because I probably will buy something.
That one for you.
Oh, it's okay, I'll do it online.
Out there. Oh, it's like rave stuff. Should we just go have a look?
Okay, I'm back. I ended up grabbing a book. So the book that I got is 300,000 Kisses, Tales of Queer Love from the Ancient World by Sean Hewitt and Luke Edward. I chose it because I haven't read it, and it's got beautiful artwork in the pages, and that just sold me on it. So that was my choice, and for free, guys. Like, they're giving away queer books for free. I also did grab myself something. I've been having breakouts all over my face, so you know, fun times. So I got this toner, witch hazel, niacinamide, and chamomile. So they said that will help with problematic skin. They also chucked in this little free sample of a chamomile concentrate anti-blemish mask. So I will try that product out and let you know how I go with it. And then I just took V shopping, and I didn't get anything else, but I did get a hot chocolate, and do not recommend. It was double the price of the Brunettis, like way too much for a drink. And the hot chocolate itself was thin and bitter. So they make it with water. And I did ask, is it real chocolate or powder? This is a chocolate shop too. And they said, oh no, it's with real chocolate. But yeah, it was bitter and watery, and there was no extras, not even cream, nothing. And like I said, double the price of Brunetti's. So I would rate their hot chocolate. I didn't even finish it. And I didn't have lunch. So I was like using that as my lunch while I was going shopping for 3 hours. And I still chucked 2/3 of it away because it was that unpleasant. So I'm going to give it a 2.5 out of 10. So definitely not in the running for the best hot chocolate.
Little snuggly.
You know, we had to make a dream bedroom in science,
Did you?
so I had to make a bedroom.
Hello my darlings, I have read actually quite a few books, so I'm here to tell you about them. So I did read Taxi Ghost by Sophie Escabas, and this is about Adele. And Adele just wants to read books and ignore the world. But then her uterus dials ghost mode. Now she's bleeding and babysitting a bunch of chatty phantoms who've been Ubering around town in her sister's taxi. It turns out she's part of a ghost whispering dynasty, and these dead passengers have unfinished business and zero chill. Welcome to puberty, now with more ectoplasm. Who you gonna call? Adele, apparently. This was a really charming coming-of-age tale where getting your first period doesn't just change your life, it unlocks the ghost dimension. The illustrations were gorgeous, they had really expressive art, there was dry humor and a lot of real talk about periods, grief, family, communication and community. I was really impressed with the dialogue about periods and how to manage them and how to care for yourself. Taxi Ghost proves that sometimes the best way to deal with the dead is just to listen to them. I really enjoyed this. This was fantastic. It was a great middle grade paranormal read about teenage girls and making a difference. I also finished reading My Lips, Her Voice by L.L. Madrid, which is publishing on October 14th. So this was the ghost book with the three girls. You have Audrey, and her body is her own sometimes, but other times it's Mara's personal Uber for ghostly revenge and unfinished sapphic business. So Mara, who was violently killed, is back and she's pissed. And she's got a one-track mind. Solve her murder, haunt the hell out of Copper City, and maybe get back together with her ex-girlfriend Zadie. Even if she has to borrow Audrey's lips and vocal cords to do it. Zadie, meanwhile, is just trying to process the whole my dead ex won't stop kissing me with her cousin's mouth situation, and also help stop a killer who is very much alive and very much active. And as the girls go missing, the trio, so you've got Audrey, possessed, Mara, the possessor, and Zadie, emotionally exasperated, they have to put their collective trauma to good use and try to catch the killer before Copper City puts another name to its impressively cursed Wikipedia page. My Lips, Her Voice is a queer ghost story about loss, longing, and what happens when the person haunting you is someone you loved and maybe still do. It's part possession thriller, part sapphic murder mystery. I had some issues with it, so I didn't really enjoy it. On NetGalley, it's listed as young adult, but really it's YA. The girls are still in school. They are not super mature, and I felt like this was less, it says horror, I don't feel like it's horror at all. It's thriller, because you've got the whole thing of teenage girls being murdered, which was also ick, and trying to solve the town's effed up history. So there are repeated occurrences of paranormal variety and mass murders going on. It's split between two time periods. So you have the three girls in the current day, and then you go back to Audrey's mother, who was also a medium that could communicate with spirits and also partially predict the future, and who was also murdered. The biggest problem I had with this was the whole thing about consent and Mara using her cousin's body to do what she wanted. It's one thing to take over the body to try and, decipher who killed you and solve your own crime, but then she goes and hooks up with her ex-girlfriend. It's like you're using somebody else to do that. Not only without their consent, against their will. Audrey was very vocal to both Mara and Zadie to stop using her. She did not want to be part of it. She did not consent to having her body taken over. And that was really gross to me. So the whole romance angle, which was very heavy in this, didn't work for me. And I just didn't get invested. Like I said, the girls were too young, so I didn't really enjoy being in their POVs. The flipping back to the grandmother, I felt was done too many times and it dragged the pacing. And I don't know, man, it was just lacking. I love the cover, but I'm not the right reader for this. I think I was way too old for it. Someone's out the front. Oh, well, they're gonna have to watch me film. And yeah, if I had known it was YA, I wouldn't have requested it. The only YA I read is, it says horror. It's a thriller though, it's a thriller. The themes in it were sisterhood, boundaries, bodily autonomy, grief, justice, and cycles of violence. But yeah, it wasn't for me. I've almost finished In the Garden of Monsters by Crystal King. I'm also going to read Magnetic by Rochelle Fox, and I'm going to also start The Devils by Joe Abercrombie. So these should be the final 3 books, unless I DNF this one. This has got the highest chance of being DNF because it's so long. and because I only liked, well, I liked all of his trilogy that I read. Little Hatred was 5 stars. I think the others were around 3.5, 3 stars. But we'll see. I have to really love a book to commit to almost 600 pages, you know? So this is the mood reading one. If it's giving 3-star energy, it's out. It is out, not in. I am taking my daughter to the CBD with her friend today. She's a day of school because it's report writing day. So I'm going to hopefully hit up Metropolis Bookstore and have a little browse, maybe find something for my Get Real Weird With It blog. And I want to try a hot chocolate today. I'm on my quest. So far we've had one decent one terrible one. So I'm hoping to get to Cocoa Black today to see if what my sister says about their hot chocolate being phenomenal is true. We shall see. And yeah, I'll see you guys once I have finished a book.
Hello Kitty.
Thought I'd take the stairs. Oh my god. So tired.
Can I get one of the biscoffs in it?
Okay, so we got hot chocolate from Cocoa Black. That's an 8.5. So don't watch me while I'm filming myself. Thanks, Dave. The teenagers are making fun of me. 8.5. It was thick, but it was plain, so there's nothing added to it. You can get it with chili or orange, but I didn't want those. And they gave you a free little coconut chocolate with it, which was nice. So that is currently in the lead for the best hot chocolate.
Okay, so I got some buns from Son-in-Law because it's one of my favorite places. So we've got Biscoff, and then we've got Pandan Coconut, and I got a book from Metropolis. This is this little tiny itty bitty book. Is yeah, $20. So this is like essays on the transformation of horror by Joe Koch, Kyle Winkler and Charlene Ellsby. So they're little essays.
Hello, my darlings. So I forgot to mention I did finish reading a book today. So let me update you on what I read. That's right. It was my copy of In the Garden of Monsters by Crystal King. It's post-war Italy and reality is optional. So when Salvador Dali, and yes, it is that Salvador Dali. And when I was at Metropolis today, I actually found a copy of his, bubbles. I found a copy of his cookbook and I was thinking about buying it, but it's expensive. And a lot of the recipes had things like snails and stuffed squid or bizarre things. So I'm not going to buy it, but insert footage of the flip through here. Anyway, so in this book, Salvador Dali, the mustachioed artist, invites Giulia to a creepy Italian statue garden, which is the Sacro Bosco that I had a dream about, to be his Persephone muse. Giulia says yes, because why wouldn't you follow a flamboyant man into a living nightmare of moss-covered monsters? And then enter Ignazio. Tall, dark, mysterious and brooding. He knows something. He might be Hades. Or just really into metaphors. While Dali demands that she eat symbolic fruit and Ignazio stares meaningfully into the fog, Giulia starts hearing voices, seeing things move, and losing the already shaky grip on her identity. Is she a traumatized woman with amnesia, a long-lost goddess of the underworld, or just trapped in an elaborate artist's fever dream brought on by too much pomegranate wine and surrealism? Blue. In short, it's 1948. The vibes are weird. The garden is haunted. and someone may or may not be an actual god. Now, I did not enjoy this book, which really sucks. I'm still going to keep it because it's symbolic of, you know, this event that happened to me. But let's go with the issues that I have with it. One, the biggest one is there is a very highly questionable consent sex scene in this that is totally unnecessary. I don't understand why the author chose for these two characters to have sex and the way that it came about. For me, there wasn't consent. So it gave me the massivest ick. This is supposed to be Hades' Persephone retelling. Ignacio is meant to be Hades. The romance isn't with him. The scenes aren't with him. They're almost not ever together. So how is this a romance book when the two romance leads are not in a romantic relationship? Waiting for them to get together. And it was so unsatisfying. There is forced feeding in this. So everyone, not everyone, but a lot of the characters in this are constantly forcing Julia to eat the pomegranate seeds, which made me very uncomfy because she didn't want to, and she'd say, I'm full, or I don't like that, or I don't want to eat that, and they didn't care. There's also I'm on the precipice of sneezing. So if my face is doing weird things, that's why. There we go. There is zero subtlety in this book. Everything's on the nose. Okay, you were hit over the head with the Persephone myth. The characters themselves feel like caricatures, and there was an interesting choice to make Demeter, who is Persephone's mother, into her lover. And in the author's note, the author addresses her decision to make Demeter Persephone's lover instead of her mother, and her reasoning is, why not? Yep, why? I don't think it added anything. I don't think it was a good take on the Greek myths, and I was against it. Dali's wife Gala was also portrayed as a super jealous, philandering bitch. There wasn't really any nuance to her character, and I was like, ooh, that's a choice to make a real life person this. The book itself was quite repetitive, so she would model, sometimes willingly, sometimes reluctantly. They would then have these very bacchanalian feasts where she would be forced to eat certain things, cure the weird stuff, ghosts, god things, and then sleep, sometimes sexy times, and then wake up, repeat. It was just very cyclical. The book was also meant to be set in the 1940s, but the language and the terminology used was very modern and current day. Once again, didn't like any of the romance in here. I would not call this a Hades Persephone romance because the two people that were meant to be Hades and Persephone weren't in there, weren't hardly interacting. And then it felt very insta-love right at the end when it's like, oh yeah, right, let's get everybody together. There were some deaths of characters in here that just didn't make sense. I felt pointless. And yeah, the only character I really liked was the cat Orpheus, whose purpose and point also wasn't super clear. I was hoping to get a better explanation of what this cat's connection to Persephone is, but that wasn't thoroughly explained. So yeah, the idea was kind of cool. The execution in this was not great. The use of real people as characters, Salvador Dali and his wife Gala, I don't think they would have liked their portrayals. But like I said, I wanted to read it because of the serendipitous nature of everything that tied it together. I definitely do. I apologize if that light is full on, and I know I'm super oily because I've been out all day and I have oily skin. I want to one day visit the Sacro Bosco, which are the gardens in Italy that feature these Greek mythology statues. It's definitely on my want to visit one day list, so fingers crossed for me that I do get to go there. I'm still on the hunt for a Hades Persephone traditionally published book that I like. Haven't found one. Read many great ones on AO3 and Wattpad, but I will always persevere and persist because Hades and Persephone are my favorite Greek gods and also my favorite couple in the Greek pantheon. And Persephone is my deity, so always looking to find good representation of her in literature. So I finished that Didn't really like it, but it's okay. And now I'm going on to Magnetic and also Joe Abercrombie. Oh, that is some bright light. Joe Abercrombie's The Devils. So those, yeah, are next on the docket. I've already started reading Magnetic. I'll talk a bit more about that later. I tried a lot of perfumes today, so I went to Mecca and Sephora and I just sniffed a lot, and I'm going to try and get samples of some ones that piqued my curiosity the next time I get some perfume samples. So that was fun, but I'm going to go have my pandan custard bun now and do some more reading. Wash the couch cover, but I can't put my pillows back
Because she's decided this is her spot now. Is this your spot? Yeah.
Good morning, guys. I had crazy insomnia last night, but the good news is that meant I got to finish a book. So, hey, you win some, you lose some, sometimes you break even. So I did finish reading Magnetic, The Secret to Manifesting Health, Wealth, Love, and Happiness by Rochelle Fox. From hot mess to high vibe magnet, Delulu is the Salulu, babes. According to this book, your brain is a cosmic fridge magnet, and it's been sticking to expired leftovers from your childhood trauma instead of the gourmet life you actually want. So enter Rochelle Fox, your meditation BFF, your subconscious whisperer and part-time life DJ, here to remix your mental playlist. She hands you a sparkly toolkit of the 3 M's. Mindset, meditation, manifesting. Mindset, because your past doesn't have to be your landlord. Meditation, to Marie Kondo your thoughts and make space for the good stuff. And manifesting, aka daydreaming with Wi-Fi connected to the universe. With her help, you'll stop accidentally attracting emotional clutter and start magnetizing dream jobs, sexy soulmates, and maybe even a house with great natural light. There's a little mantra for y'all, so insert your name here and say, my name is, and I declare that I am healthy, wealthy, abundant, and free. I love money and money loves me. Your mind called, darling, and it's ready to attract better. Is this anything groundbreaking or new? No, it's not. But every now and again, I need a refresher that even though I can't control my external circumstances, I can control my thoughts, how I react to things, what I think about things, and my vibe and my energy. And I have just been operating on a very glass half full mindset and focusing on all of the negatives and the lack instead of focusing on the positives, looking at the glass as already being halfway full. So look at that head start you've got. What a great foundation to build upon to create more, instead of thinking, oh, I've only got half left, I better restrict, less. No. So yeah, it's just the mental pick-me-up I needed to reframe my perspective, to be a little bit more positive, to be optimistic and open, and just aligning myself with the best version of myself. So it did the job. It was a little pep talk, a little reminder that things can only get better. So yes, I did. It did the job. It did the job. It's very easy to read. The way this is formatted and the writing, it's very simple and straightforward. So I think too, if you're very new to manifesting, meditation, and mindset, this is a good place to start. But like I said, it's not heavy on the science, guys. Like, she does try to talk about quantum physics and the theory of relativity and all that sort of stuff, but it's done in a very woo-woo, spiritual, easy to consume kind of way. I have started The Devils, and by started I mean I've read like 5 pages. So I will continue on with that today. I've got a whole bunch of errands to run. I need to get some sandpaper to sand my resin buttons, to get some more bags out, and I was thinking about doing blind date with a book, with the books that I have physically that I don't want anymore. But man, ladies only be charging $10 for brand new books with all these extras. And I'm like, how is that a feasible business model? Like, you are surely operating at a massive loss there. So I'm just going to donate them to a free little library, you know, pass some charity on to some peeps, put some real weird stuff. They were like, what is this book about nunchuck ninjas? I'm sure someone will like it. So yeah, I'm gonna do that maybe today, but the free little libraries are not close by, so maybe I will just go to the supermarket and do all the fun life admin stuff today. But you'll see me again once I have read some more. So cute. Lunch.
In Niçoise salad and calls it a Nicoise salad.
Hey guys, so it turns out I have read 5 books for this vlog. I thought I hadn't, but I have. So we're going to save Joe Abercrombie's The Devils for the next mood reading vlog, and I'm going to sum up all of the books I read here in one word, and I'll do it in order of my least favorite to my most favorite. So we're going to start with In the Garden of Monsters by Crystal King. Surreal. My Lips, Her Voice, L.L. Madrid. Possession. Ritual by Chloe Elizabeth Wilson. Lip Stained. Magnetic, The Secret to Manifesting Health, Wealth, Love and Happiness by Rochelle Fox. Rewired. And Taxi Ghost by Sophie Escabas. Spirited. Those were all of the books I read in this mood reading blog. Let me know what you're currently reading down below. Until next time, stay well, Star Child.